Hi guys, today I'll be taking a look at the Treecap Green, a switch that you should never buy. Let's get started. Now, the Treecap Green was originally designed to be used as a spacebar switch for keyboards with Treecap blues. At least this is true when it comes to vintage keyboards. Remember, these have been around since the 80s. However, it's a practice that's sort of disappeared now. In terms of pricing, these are quite expensive at £11 for 10 switches on AliExpress. However, you can get these at MacBoards for half that price. And this is what they look like disassembled. Feel free to pause the video. Now, let's move on to the switch categories. On-center key presses are smooth for most switches. However, many of them are scratchy on both the pre-travel and towards the bottom out. Off-center key presses are decently scratchy. It's definitely the scratchiest of the green switches, and in fact, I can tell if I'm typing on these by this very aspect. It's not bad, but it's not ideal. 4 out of 10. The weighting is heavy with an actuation force of 52 grams at 2.1mm and a bottom out force of 84 grams at 3.8mm of total travel. The tactile event occurs between 1.4 and 2.1mm, peaking around 80 grams at 1.7mm. As you can see on the graph, the actuation force is quite low for a heavy switch like this, but remember you still have to overcome the heavy tactile event. Overall, the weighting is slightly heavier than both the Gateron and the Greetech switch, not by a huge margin, but it's noticeable. Additionally, the tactility feels muted and floaty, but they are relatively crisp. It's not as good as the Greetech Green, however. 6 out of 10. It's got a click jacket, so yes, they sound very rattly and obnoxious, just as expected. Plus, most of them have a very distinct ping to them. 4 out of 10. Now for the typing demo. Enjoy. Typing performance is decent. Now, it does have a floatiness to the typing feel, but it's not as bad as the Gateron Greens. It's not even close to it. On the upside, the tactile bump is short but pronounced, the weighting is mainly on point, and the overall key feel is on par with contemporary switches. It's a good performer. It's a shame it's on the expensive side though. 6 out of 10. Now for gaming, and there are two sides to this. If you're a casual gamer and you aren't into super competitive games at all, these will do the job. It won't be ideal, but you could do so much worse than these. This is fine for most casual gamers. On the flip side, if you're a super competitive gamer and every millimeter of movement makes the difference in winning or losing a fight, these would not suffice. In fact, it slowed me down whilst playing TF2, and for one main reason, the weighting. It's just far too heavy and far too annoying to calculate your every move on these. Not to mention I got more frequently tired when using these. So please, don't buy this if you're using them for competitive play because you probably won't like it. 5 out of 10. In conclusion, unless you find a great deal on one of these, the Greetech Green is still a better option. These are just far too expensive in many markets. The final score for this switch is 25 out of 50 or 50%. Not bad for an MX switch, but it's underwhelming as a whole. Anyway, next time I'll be reviewing yet another green switch. It's the last greenish one. Until then, take care and goodbye.